morning all of you. So last class we discussed about the quadrilateral parallelogram and its properties. Okay, and today we can discuss some special kinds of parallelogram. Okay, some special kinds of parallelogram, and first one is rhombus. Rhombus is a parallelogram with all sides equal. We know for a parallelogram only two sides, opposite sides only equal. Okay, only need to be equal. Opposite sides will be equal for a parallelogram. But for rhombus is a special kind of parallelogram with four sides equal. So rhombus is also a parallelogram. It is a special kind of parallelogram. So all the properties of a parallelogram will be whole in the case of a rhombus also. What are the properties of parallelogram? We already discussed. Opposite sides are equal. So in this case also opposite sides are equal, and opposite angles are equal, and diagonals bisect each other. Okay, and adjacent angles, the adjacent sides, okay, will be, this adjacent angles will be supplementary. That all properties of that parallelogram will be whole in the case of rhombus. And also another special properties for rhombus is, one we already discussed, that all sides, four sides will be equal, and also the diagonals bisect perpendicular. That means these two diagonals, one diagonal AC and another diagonal is BD. So that two diagonals bisect at perpendicular. That means these two angles will be, that is, the angle formed here, one angle AOD, here one angle formed AOD, and this angle COD, these two angles will be 90 degree. And also in this case here also, this angle also will be 90 degree, angle AOB. If the meeting point of that two diagonal is O, then these angles, four angles will be right angles. Okay, this AOB and angle COB also, that will be right angles. How we can prove that these angles will be right angle? For that we consider only these two triangles. One triangle AOD. Okay, these two triangles we can consider. That is, first one is this side AOD, and second triangle DOC. With these two triangles we can prove that these two angles will be 90 degree. That is, this angle AOD, we want to find out measure of angle AOD is equal to measure of angle COD is equal to how much we want to prove? 90 degree. That we want to prove. So for that we know diagonals of a parallelogram or diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. So if these two sides will be equal, and also these two sides also will be equal. Okay, now in this case when we consider these two triangles, triangle AOD, and triangle COD. Okay, we can consider these two triangles. For that we know for this angle AD is equal to BC. For the first triangle AOD, the side AD is equal to one side of the second triangle, that is DC. Why these two sides are equal? How we can say? What is the reason behind it? AD is equal to DC. Because in the case of a rhombus, four sides are equal. Okay, that is the rhombus. Special properties of rhombus is that the all sides of a rhombus is equal. So we can say AD is equal to DC. And also we know these sides, the side of the first triangle AO. What will be AO? AO is equal to, this is the one side of this triangle AOD, that will be equal to the corresponding side of the second triangle COD, that is OC. Why? What is the reason for AO is equal to OC? Because it is a diagonal of a rhombus. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. That is the length from OA will be equal to OC. And also we know which is the common side for this both the triangles. Common side is OD. So OD is equal to OD. Now using which property we can say these two triangles are congruent? Using SSS congruent property we can say triangle AOD is congruent to triangle COD. So if two triangles are congruent, the corresponding angles also will be equal. That we already learned in 7th standard. So this angle AOD, therefore measure of angle AOD is equal to measure of angle COD. That we proved. These both angles are equal, that we proved. But we want to prove that is equal to 90 degree. Then using which property we can say these two angles will be 90 degree. Now we proved these two angles are equal. That is AOD, measure of angle AOD is equal to measure of angle COD. Now we know these two angles forms linear pairs. So we know the sum of linear pairs is 180 degree, and if these two angles are equal, then each angle will be 90 degrees. Okay, therefore both angles are 90 degree using linear pairs property. So it is the main property of a rhombus, that is the diagonals bisected perpendicular. That is the angle formed, 4 angles formed here at the intersection point of that two diagonals. That angles will be 90 degree each. By using this property we can prove that angles are 90 degree. First we consider these two triangles, and using SSS criteria we proved that two angles are equal. Then using linear pairs property we proved that each angles will be 90 degree. Okay, SSS criteria we already learned in 7th standard. So rhombus is a special kind of parallelogram with 4 sides equal. Okay, and all the properties of a parallelogram will be hold in the case of rhombus also, and the diagonals bisect each other at the perpendicular. That is the angles formed here. In these 4 angles will be 90 degree each. That is the main properties of rhombus. Now one question is given, example question is given in the textbook. Here one rhombus is given. Its name is given RICE. Okay, and diagonal is marked like this, and it is meeting at the point O, and this length is given 5. That is the length from O to I. This length is given I, and here X, and this length is given 13. That is the side length ER is given 13, and here it is given Z, and this side is named as Y, and this length is given 12. We want to find out RICE. This given RICE, RICE, RICE is a rhombus that is given, and find the values of X, Y, Z. We want to find out what will be the values of X, Y, Z. Using the properties of rhombus we can find what will be X. We know X is a half part of this diagonal, and if this side is OI is given how much? 5. So it will be the same length of that OI. So X is equal to 5. What is the reason? Because the diagonals bisect each other. So these two lengths will be equal. OI is equal to OE. So X is equal to 5. Then what will be Y? Just like the second diagonal, it is OC is given 12. The same length will be to OR also. So y is equal to 12. Okay. Now one more. Z also we want to find out. Z is equal to. Z is what? The side of the side length of the rhombus. We know the properties of rhombus. All the sides are equal. And here another side is given. ER is given 13. So Z also 30. Okay. That is simple. Next parallelogram we want to discuss is second one is rectangle. Okay. Rectangle is also a special kind of parallelogram. Rectangle. Okay, rectangle is also a special kind of parallelogram. What is the special property other than parallelogram for this rectangle? All the properties of parallelogram will be hold in the case of rectangle also. So, if it is a rectangle ABCD, we know it is also a parallelogram because these opposite sides are equal and opposite angles are equal and diagonals bisect each other. All properties of parallelogram hold in this case of rectangle also. One another properties also is there. What will be that? That all of you know. Because all the angles of a rectangle will be 90 degree. Okay. All the angles of a rectangle will be 90 degree. That is the main property of rectangle. Now, diagonals, one more another property is also there when we consider the diagonals. Okay, so angles, in the case of angles, 4 angles will be equal, and in the case of diagonals, one diagonal is AC and another second diagonal is BD. So if it is a rectangle, both diagonals are equal. The length of AC will be equal to length of BD. For all the parallelogram, it will not be equal. If it is a parallelogram like this, so in this case, it is not equal. If it is ABCD, it is not a rectangle because these angles are not 90 degrees. But it is a parallelogram. Then in this case, AC will not be equal to BD. But if it is a rectangle, so AC will be equal to BD. Okay, so if this side length AC, so it will be equal to BD, and also one more property, all the angles will be 90 degree. Now, related to that rectangles property, we can solve one problem in the textbook. That is, given one rectangle, here given one rectangle, and its name is given RENT. Okay, and these diagonals are marked like this, and its meeting point is O, and this side length is given 2x plus 4, and this side is given 3x plus 1. The question is, rent is a rectangle, its diagonals meet at O, find x, find the value of x if OR is equal to 2x plus 4. The length of OR is given 2x plus 4. That is given in the question. The length OR is equal to 2x plus 4 and OT is equal to 3x plus 1. So it is given rent, RENT, rent is a rectangle and the two diagonals meet at the point O, and the length OR, this OR is given 2x plus 4 and OT is equal to 3x plus 1. You want to find out the value of x. How we can find out? Here this length is given 2x plus 4. Okay. So we know one property of rectangle, the diagonals are equal in length. So if OR is equal to 2x plus 4, this length also will be ON also 2x plus 4. The same diagonal, the same length will be for this also. Okay, for this. So 3x plus 1. So this also will be 3x plus 1. So how we can equate 4 measures? OR will be equal to ON is equal to OT is equal to OE. These 4 length will be equal. Here 2 lengths are given. So we can equate that 2x plus 4 is equal to 3x plus 1. Okay, from this we can find out 2x minus 3x will be equal to 1 minus 4. Okay, that we already learned algebraic expression. 2x minus 3x is minus x equal 1 minus 4 is minus 3. Therefore, x equal to 3. So, the value of x will be 3. So, these are the main special kind of parallelogram. Two special parallelogram we discussed. One is rhombus and the second one is rectangle. So rhombus is a special kind of parallelogram with all sides equal. 4 sides will be equal and its diagonals. When we consider about their diagonals, that diagonals bisect at a perpendicular. That is the angle formed there will be 90 degree each. Okay. Now second one is, we discuss this another special parallelogram with name rectangle. Okay. What is the property of rectangle? All the angles, 4 angles of a rectangle will be 90 degree, and one more main property is the diagonals of a parallelogram. No, the diagonals of a rectangle, the length of the diagonals of the rectangle will be in equal length. That is the main properties we discussed for rhombus and rectangle. Some more special another parallelograms also are there. So today you study this well. Okay. Otherwise there will be confusion for next parallelogram also. Okay. Thank you.